We are now in a recession. We are officially in a recession. The second quarter GDP numbers have come out. We've got 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. The White House is asked about this. This is just before the numbers come out. They're asked about their attempt to redefine recession. And what do? They redefine redefining.
If things are going so great, though, then why is it the White House officials are trying to redefine recession?
No, we're not redefining recession.
If we all understand a recession to be 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth in a row, and then you have White House officials come up here to say, no, that's not what a recession is. It's something else. How is that not redefining recession?
Because that's not the definition. That is not the definition.
Brian Deese said in 2008, of course, economists have a technical definition, which is of a recession, which is 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth.
I can tell you this.
Yesterday he said 2 negative quarters of GDP growth is not the technical definition of a recession.
It is
What
not.
changed?
It is not.
Why did he say that
It
was?
is not. I can speak to what he said yesterday in front of all of you, which is the last thing that you just repeated. There are many factors. Economic factors and indicators to consider, and I will say that the textbook definition of recession is not 2 negative quarters of GDP.
I will not speak to Karine Jean-Pierre, White House spokesman. I will not acknowledge what the National Economic Council chairman said in 2008. I will ignore that. I will only speak to what he said yesterday because Oceania is at war with East Asia. Oceania has always been at war with East Asia. That's their story, and they're sticking to it. Peter Doocy brings the receipts to the White House. Peter Doocy, the reporter in the White House press pool, he shows up to the briefing room and he says, we're in a recession, right? Or we're about to be officially in a recession. And Karine Jean-Pierre says, no, we're not in a recession. He goes, why are you redefining recession? She goes, we're not redefining recession. Recession is not 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. And the person she cites is Brian Deese, who's the director of the White House National Economic Council. Brian Deese has been going on TV, going to the White House, saying that the actual technical definition of a recession is not 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth, which was news to all of us because if you ever took an economics class, if you ever opened up a dictionary, if you open up a dictionary today, you will find that the technical definition of a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. But then I was second guessing myself. I was being successfully gaslit by the White House because I thought, I don't know, I'm not an economist. Maybe I'm just wrong about this. And then Peter Doocy says, wait a second. In 2008, this same man, this very same director of the National Economic Council, Brian Deese, said verbatim the technical definition. Economists have a technical definition of recession, which is 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. Oh, okay, I guess we're just being gaslit then, right? And because Doocy brought the receipts, Karine Jean-Pierre had nothing to say, and her actual answer is, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to acknowledge what he said. I'm not going to acknowledge the dictionary. I'm not going to acknowledge the economics textbooks. The definition of a recession is whatever I want it to be, or whatever Joe Biden says it is. But that is not the case. Words do have meaning. There is a reality to the economy, and we are now officially in a recession. Biden can keep lying about it all he wants, just like the libs can say that a man is actually a woman. Or the libs can say that a baby is not a baby. And the libs are going to try to say that a recession is not a recession, but it is. We are officially in a recession. And Joe Biden's lies are not going to make it any easier on your wallet. Ron DeSantis obviously wants to challenge President Trump in 2024. And DeSantis has some real advantages here. Trump has some real advantages. He's super famous. He's hilarious. He's a celebrity. He was already the president. He's got a lot of support. He's got a lot of advantages. DeSantis has some advantages too, though. DeSantis is young, he's new, and novelty can be very helpful in politics, and he is full of energy. He is also saying all the right things.
We are taking a stand, and these bills I'm signing into law today, foreign adversaries will not have access to our schools, government, and companies like they have in the past. In fact, the first bill that I signed today safeguards our public institutions from undue foreign influence, and that means prohibiting agreements between public entities and the Communist Party of China or Cuba or any of these other malignant forces. As of the time we sign this bill and it goes into effect, Florida, we will be banning things like Confucius institutions from being in our universities or in our colleges. And I know we had issues with that right here in Miami-Dade counties. We're also going to sign the Combating Corporate Espionage in Florida Act. It creates new criminal offenses in Florida for the theft and trafficking of trade secrets.
This is really good stuff. The policy is really good. We do need to kick out this foreign influence, especially Chinese influence. Something that DeSantis is honing in on, which is something that Trump really honed in on, which is something that scandalized virtually every other Republican in 2016 and almost all the Republicans at the national level, is they realize that we need to wield state power. We don't need to become tyrannical. We don't need to become dictators. We don't need to wield state power capriciously or arbitrarily. But conservatives, when we get power, we need to use it justly. We need to use the power that the people give us to do good things and improve people's lives. For a long time, for decades in the conservative movement, Republican politicians have repeated libertarian slogans to avoid doing their jobs. They said, well, you know, if we regulate Google, we'll be just like the leftists. Oh, we can't do, they would be very wrong to wield the state to stop drag queen perverts from jiggling for little kids. Oh no, we can't, that would make us no different from the leftists if we ever used any government power at all. No, the founding fathers hated the idea of law and order and justice. No, what are you talking about? That's just completely made up. It's a political joke. It's a farce that was pushed largely by big corporations that just wanted less regulation. And it was pushed by libertarians who, as a percentage of the electorate, are a very, very small percentage and who have an outsized influence or have had an outsized influence in the conservative movement, but don't actually represent a large portion of the American voting base. And it represents an idea that actually does not have a lot of grounding in American history. And it represents an idea that politically is just completely impractical. Power is going to flow to the people who are willing to use it and the institutions that are willing to use it. That's a basic law of politics. And so if the Republicans get elected and say, elect me, I'm not going to do anything, then you're just ceding the entire culture to the left. And then I have to ask, well, why am I even voting for you? Why would I vote? I vote for the Republican, he does nothing. I vote for the Democrat, he does something, but I vote for the Republican and the Democrat's going to do something anyway, so what's the difference? There's no reason. And what DeSantis and what Trump and some other people too, you're seeing it a little bit in the Senate from Senator Cruz, from Josh Hawley a little bit, you're seeing this movement among conservatives now to say, wait, no, we can keep boys out of the girls' room. We can ban Drag Queen Story Hour. We can shut down certain Chinese goods. I know maybe it'll hurt GDP a little bit, but this is a national security threat now. We can keep Chinese communist influence out of our schools. We can say no. We can wield the power justly. The Founding Fathers were very well aware of that. Every sane person in our country was aware of that until very, very recently. I'm so glad that you liked that clip. You know, we just hit 1 million subscribers here on YouTube. Thank you to everyone who made that happen. Let's push it up even higher. Next goal, 1 billion. So please subscribe, like, ring the bell. We'll see you next time.